Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
How are you?
Doing excellent. Why do you always laugh?
Yeah, doing well.
You're doing well too. How are you? Good morning, beautiful Tudu.
Good morning, beautiful OG.
Thank you. How are you? Good. It's a compliment show, as always. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, Oji. How are you?
I'm doing well.
As always.
You too. You look great.
Yeah.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United Kingdom, Essex police searching for a missing 19-year-old Nigerian student of Oxford Brookes University, Richard Okorogriye, discovered a body yet to be identified in a pond in Epping Forest. In the United States, as Derek Chauvin's trial enters the second week in the murder of George Floyd, Dr. Bradford Langefeld, who pronounced Floyd dead, while giving his testimony, confirmed that his heart stopped due to lack of oxygen.
Was your leading theory then for the cause of Mr. Floyd's cardiac arrest oxygen deficiency?
That was one of the more likely possibilities. I felt that at the time, based on the information I had, it was more likely than the other possibilities.
And a new hope in the quest of finding the antidote to HIV. A vaccine with 97% antibody response rate shows promise in landmark first-in-human clinical trial. In Nigeria, Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, shares photos and videos of Nigerians staging a pro-Buhari rally at the Abuja House in London. And a video showing two young anti-Buhari campaigners being flogged after painting Buhari must go graffiti on a fence in Kogi State has made the rounds.
Take your Buhari.
Under sports, Nigerian freestyle wrestler Ekerekeme Agiomo has qualified for the Olympics in Tokyo, making him the only Nigerian male wrestler that will be representing the nation at the postponed tournament in Japan. Finally, under entertainment, British Zimbabwean actress, formerly known as Tandy Newton, covers the new edition of British Vogue, captioned Rebirth of an Icon. She now embraces her birth name, Tandy Wayne Newton, 3 decades after her name was misspelled in her first film. And singer The Weeknd, whose real name is Abel Tesfaye, announcing he'll be donating $1 million towards feeding Ethiopians amidst the 5-month-old war, tops the trend. Well, let's begin what's trending with reactions to the attack by gunmen on the police command headquarters and correctional center in Owerri, Imo State. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, barely 24 hours after the attack, accused members of the proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra of carrying out the attack, which occurred in the early hours of Monday. The IGP claims that the attackers came in their numbers with sophisticated weapons and released over 1,000 inmates, while several vehicles and property were burned. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has described the attack as an act of terrorism, while many users have shared mixed reactions. Let's take a tweet from Ifa Funshaw, who wrote, IGP accused IPOB for police headquarters set ablaze in Owerri without carrying out any investigation. IPOB said they have no hand in what happened in Owerri. The Nigerian Air Force jet exploded. Boko Haram said they're responsible for it. The Nigerian Air Force says, no, you didn't do it. It was an accident. Rufai, this is the rhetoric on social media. A lot of people are accusing the Inspector General of Police, saying that he probably did not carry out enough investigation to accuse members of the Indigenous People of Biafra of act of terrorism like that. But it does appear to be an act of terrorism, like President Muhammadu Buhari has said.
Is this not the rhetoric in Nigeria today? Misspeech, misalignment, miss everything if there's anything possible. We are constantly throwing the baby away with the bathwater, not dealing with the real issues. What are the real issues? There is insecurity in the land. Massive insecurity, be it terrorism, banditry. Banditry too is terrorism. Let's not deceive ourselves. There is massive insecurity in the land. And the question we should be asking ourselves is the solution. The solution without being prejudiced. Because it's so quick to blacklist. Oh, it's IPOB that did this. Is this that did this? Is that did this? The underlying factor here is insecurity. The governor too came out to say something else. The governor said, oh, political leanings, parading themselves to be IPOB members. So we don't know who is who. But you know, the good thing about every crime is a crime leaves a trail behind. So the police said they have seen a van. Forensics is going on as regards the van. Let them investigate that van, trace it to where they can trace that van to, and get the full information and prosecute those in charge of this, or that have done this, or planned this. But we can't take it away that there's massive insecurity in the country and we should deal with it. And what are the factors causing the insecurity? There's agitation, there's unemployment, there's civil strife, there's unfairness and injustice that has continued for a long while in this country. There is 33% unemployment. Do you know what it means for a country to have 33% unemployment rate for young people? So you will see insecurity as an offshoot. So it could be people using a certain group or claim to be a certain group, or bandits somewhere, or herdsmen, or the likes. There is massive insecurity in the land. The nation is sitting on the keg of gunpowder. We need to face it. We're talking about Imo. 1 or 2 happened in a Boeing. Right. The vice president was there over the weekend. People were killed, slaughtered. Everybody lives in fear. Nobody is safe. That's the reality on ground today. And all should be done. The IG should investigate. People should be brought to book. We should calm the tension.
Right. Well, Dr. Abati, I'm sure the IGP did do his investigation.
Well, I mean, this is the third time we're discussing this morning. We took it earlier at length with Dr. Chima Nnaji, who, as a major stakeholder in the matter, was not too pleased with the finger pointing that the Inspector General of Police would seem to have done by identifying a particular group, IPOB, and the Eastern Security Network directly has been responsible on the basis of what he calls preliminary investigations. And his position was also corroborated by the governor of Imo State. But there was something that Dr. Chima Nnaji said that we need to underline. He said that, look, yes, even if it is true that there were these attacks, were masterminded by any particular group, that in fact the Inspector General of Police should see it as a failure of the police. The fact that on Friday, Saturday, people will be killed in Olu, in Owerri, and then yesterday people will have the effrontery to go and attack a correctional center in Owerri, burn down vehicles in the police station, and even had the temerity to want to take on the government house in Owerri. Now that audacity, that show of disregard for constituted authority, if we may use that famous phrase, is in itself a sign of failure on the part of the state security apparatus, from the police to other intelligence agencies. So where is intelligence? For something to go on repeatedly over the weekend and to continue to the following week. So who are those who are supposed to be in charge of security? That's number one. The IG, in his own statement, listed sophisticated weaponry. And it's here on page 8 of this day today. Sophisticated weapons such as general purpose machine guns, submachine guns, AK-49 rifles, rocket-propelled grenades, improvised explosive RPGs, improvised explosive devices, and so on and so forth. I mean, this is an indication that we are at war.
Wow.
And in one regard, they refer to some of these people as unknown gunmen. How did they take this kind of weaponry across Nigeria? Persons that have not yet been properly identified. So the third fear that we have is that this could spread. We've been talking about Imo State and the governor of Imo State. In neighboring Abia State, the governor too has had to shut down 2 major cities, Umuahia and Aba, I guess, out of precaution. Perhaps he too has information that the people who have wreaked havoc in Owerri and Olu may be on their way to Umuahia and Aba. So we shouldn't always wait for these things to happen before the president will issue a statement and say, oh, these are terrorists. You must fish them out and prosecute them and bring them to justice. Now, if it happens again in maybe Ebonyi State, the president will issue exactly the same statement. And we will sit here and say, the president has given the security chiefs the marching order to ensure security. So the danger that we face, the insecurity that surrounds us, has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's not how a country that wants to make progress lives. If you have, we are almost at the level of Somalia, because this anomaly continues to spread.
Well said, Dr. Abati.
Yes, I agree with the governor that imposed that curfew preemptively, a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. That's the wisest move at this point. But yes, in our conversation with Dr. Naji, he sort of accused the Inspector General of Police of knee-jerk finger-pointing. And I said to him that we've all, sadly, become really accustomed with the antics of terrorists in the past, decade plus some change. Terrorist groups tend to take responsibility for what they do. In fact, they can lie and take responsibility for what they did not do.
Correct.
They never deny what they have done.
Correct.
And IPOB has done so. But on the other hand, the police last week posted on their Twitter page confessional videos from two gentlemen claiming to be IPOB members named Raphael Indag and Ugochukwu Samuel. And those two gentlemen talked about what they called movements, whereby they went and they killed soldiers, they killed security officers. So I'm not sure if that is what is causing this link, but IPOB has denied involvement, which is atypical of terrorist groups, as we know. Well, what my fear is the audacity, like what you said. And what happened last year, we remember the prison breaks that happened after the EndSARS protests. Where are those prisoners that have absconded?
That's a very valid question to do.
Well, they've never been found. You recall one in Edo State went to the home of somebody who testified against him and murdered that person. Now we have hardened criminals on the run in Imo State, and I really do worry. Like you said, you also talked about what happened in Ebonyi State as well. And they even had 55 suspects in custody who escaped. That one was apparently through collusion of security agencies. What on earth is going on? So the tweet that you just read just made the link between this situation and the situation with the Nigerian Air Force, which I actually don't see that link. But what she sees, and the point she's making, which is a valid point, is just the lack of transparency and the lack of trust at the moment.
Well,
Nigerians
I think she's just
don't trust the authorities.
your point. The fact that the thing you just said, terrorists claim responsibility for attacks.
They do.
So that there you go. Boko Haram has said that they were responsible for the fighter jet that was shut down. And that's what they do. But IPOB has come out to say they're not responsible for this. So, I mean, where do we go from here, Tundu?
So you see, my worry is that do we have another strain growing within IPOB that the main group is not aware of? I'm not sure.
Right. Well, I guess we'll have to go on a short break now. And when we come back, what's trending on the morning show will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show. We're still on what's trending. Advocacy group Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against President Muhammadu Buhari over his alleged failure to probe allegations that over 3 billion naira has gone missing in the health sector. The group made the announcement via Twitter, claiming that the alleged missing public fund was meant for the Federal Ministry of Health, teaching hospitals, medical centers, and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. The suit has come in the wake of President Muhammadu Buhari's medical trip to London, while resident doctors in Nigeria are on strike over unpaid salaries, upward review of their hazard allowance, and COVID-19 care incentives. Rufai, I believe that the medical doctors are having a meeting now with the federal government to negotiate all of the things I just mentioned. But it is quite appalling, and people are very frustrated that, obviously, President Muhammadu Buhari has left the country when this is happening.
It's quite appalling, and I think it should be investigated, and that's the work of civil society, to be able to hold government accountable. But it's quite appalling because, and I will use a local parlance by saying that today, we have seen this, and we have seen the height of it in this country. You remember the NHIS scam that happened? A lot of money pumped into the National Health Insurance Scheme. We all know how that money went down the drain. We remember how the wife of the president came out to say that, oh, we are putting a lot of money in the state hospital, but you can hardly find anything to treat yourself when you're sick in a state hospital. In fact, I went further to research and I discovered that the state hospital collects in billions, 2 to 3 billion every year, while other hospitals across the country collect about $1 billion. And we have not seen what the money has been used to. You cannot pick a federal hospital that is a center of excellence. And I repeat it, you cannot pick one federal hospital. The federal medical centers that Obasanjo started, that was supposed to be centers of excellence. Go there and see the state of the federal medical centers in every state of the federation today. People don't have access to quality health care. People are suffering. People are dying from all sorts of disease in this country. Everybody wants to run abroad. You don't even need to be the high class before you run abroad now. Any little spell of cancer, people are going to India. Go to hospitals to get tested for cancer, to get chemotherapy in this country is still a big deal. You don't have centers for excellence. You don't have investment in medicine. How do we build a country that way? Everybody goes abroad. We just build hospitals that are shells, no equipment to run them, no drugs, nothing. On top of that, resident doctors are on strike in this country as we speak today. Like I said before, it is so easy to talk about other people's pain, but we don't know where it pinches. I saw on television the other day a woman that her husband died because there were no doctors to attend to her in the hospital. We don't have infrastructure enough in the hospital. Doctors are not there in the hospital because we can't invest in our healthcare. And Bill Gates has told us that the way to grow in this country, he said it 2-3 years ago, everybody was shouting. He said social investment in the population is the way to grow a country. Invest in education, invest in healthcare. Those should be taking the greater part of our budget in this country. Because if you don't educate your population, and if you don't treat them well, then there's no how your population can be productive. Have you ever wondered why Britain spends a lot of money in the NHS? That's one of the greatest spending that comes out of the British government. It's healthcare for its people. Because when you have a healthy people, you have a healthy nation. So they should investigate. And it is time we also focus on governance in this country.
Okay, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. And why are they suing? They are suing because they are alleging that where they are not even alleging, they are stating the fact that in the 2018 report by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, it was pointed out that a sum of about 3.8 billion naira was missing. And now they've gone to the Federal High Court, Abuja, to seek what relief? The relief they are seeking is an order of mandamus compelling the president of Nigeria to cause an investigation to be carried out into the missing 3.8 billion. Now, do they have the locus? Yes, because this is a suit in the public interest.
Yes.
It's a public interest matter. Now, under Chapter 2, part of the responsibility of government, the directive principles of state and objectives of state policy, is to make sure that there is good governance. And part of it is to provide, to be held accountable and to ensure that where there are cases of omissions, persons are, brought to book. So SERAP, they've been very consistent, that particular NGO,
yes,
in taking up issues and in raising questions. Now, would they get the relief, the order of mandamus that they are seeking from the court? Well, whether or not they get that relief that they are seeking from the Federal High Court of Abuja, what is important is that they are raising awareness about a critical issue, because the trigger, the catalyst for this, is the fact that the president has gone for medical checkup in the UK. And many citizens, not just members of SERAP, who are also, I guess, tax-paying members of society, and so they are serious stakeholders. Everybody is saying, no, if the medical system in Nigeria, were in good state, if the 3.8 billion naira that was reported by the Office of the Auditor General did not miss, then perhaps the president will not need to go to London for routine medical checkup. That is one reaction in that regard. And even if they don't win in court, because they go to court regularly, they take the vehicle of legal redress, which is perfectly in order. They have helped to further raise awareness. Now, Nigerians are reacting in different ways. The other day, we saw Reno Omokri in front of, the place where the president is, and he was, leading a protest. But some other Nigerians have also gone to the same location to say they are supporting the president.
Yes.
So Nigerians react in different ways. The latest reaction that I have seen, which I find quite curious, is that after the rescue of the or the recovery, to use the exact phrase that the Kaduna State government used.
I thought that was strange.
Yeah. So after that,
ambiguous.
people are now saying, well, you are taking them to a military facility for medical checkup. That the appropriate place to take those 5 persons that have been rescued should be London, the same hospital where the president is having a medical checkup.
Let's all go to London.
Those are the kind of reactions.
I mean, why not?
What I really resent, and what I appreciate Sarah for highlighting, is this acquiescence to corruption. Oh, 3.5 billion naira went missing. Let's just shrug and get on with our day. Like it's a bit of change that fell down the back of your sofa. It is shocking. It should have been investigated, and I completely support the legal recourse that Sarah has taken. As you said, it remains to be seen what the courts will decide, but this is the point of CSOs, so they're doing their job. As for President Buhari, this was a huge missed opportunity. We are a country right now having to deal with the fact that India cannot produce enough vaccines. We are accepting charity left, right, and center of COVID vaccines. This was a moment for him to signal commitment to Nigeria's health sector by carrying out his routine medical check here in Nigeria. There's so many private hospitals he could have done it, which is even out of the reach of most Nigerians. But that would have been preferable to him going to London at a time like this, during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the limitations of our health sector have been laid bare. Our president should have shown that support and shown that commitment. This was a huge mistake as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, Tunde, and we've always talked about the government showing empathy, and this is the point where you have to address the nation. What is the excuse? What is the reason? Why at this time, when there's so much havoc in the nation, that the president will take a trip to the United Kingdom?
Yes, because he has that option that most Nigerians do not have.
Yes.
It's wrong.
Well,
unfortunately. That's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you very much indeed.